Welcome back to Psychology of Humans. With Aristotle, psychology moves from philosophy into something closer to science. Where Plato described the structure of the mind, Aristotle asked a different question. How does the mind actually work in the real world? Aristotle was Plato's student, but he disagreed with his teacher on one crucial point. Plato believed truth existed in abstract forms beyond experience. Aristotle believed knowledge begins with observation. This shift changed everything. Aristotle didn't just think about the mind, he studied it. He watched human behavior, analyzed emotion, classified thought, and tried to understand how perception, memory, learning, and character develop over time. In doing so, he laid the groundwork for psychology as an empirical discipline. The mind as a function, not a thing. Aristotle rejected the idea that the mind was a separate substance floating inside the body. Instead, he argued that the soul, what we would call the mind, is the function of a living body. Just as seeing is the function of the eye, thinking is the function of the human organism. This was radical. Psychologically, Aristotle was saying, the mind is embodied, thought is connected to perception, emotion is tied to physiology, cognition is rooted in experience. Modern neuroscience agrees. The three levels of the soul. Aristotle proposed that all living beings possess a soul, but not the same kind. He identified three levels. 1. The vegetative soul, present in plants, animals, and humans, responsible for growth, nutrition, and reproduction. This is the biological foundation of life. 2. The sensitive soul, present in animals and humans, responsible for perception, sensation, emotion, desire, and movement. Here we find pleasure and pain, appetite, fear, motivation, basic learning. This is where psychology begins to look familiar. 3. The rational soul, unique to humans, responsible for reasoning, language, reflection, and deliberate choice. This is what allows humans to plan, evaluate, and pursue meaning. Aristotle didn't see these levels as separate. They are integrated. Human psychology includes biology, emotion, and reason, not as rivals, but as layers of one system. Perception and experience. Aristotle believed the mind is shaped by experience. He famously rejected the idea of innate knowledge. Instead, he argued that knowledge comes from the senses, from seeing, hearing, touching, and interacting with the world. Experience creates memory, memory creates learning, learning creates understanding. This idea later influenced empiricism, behavioral psychology, and modern learning theory. Aristotle understood that the mind is plastic, shaped by repetition and habit. Habit and character. One of Aristotle's most important psychological insights is his theory of habit. He believed character is not fixed at birth. It is formed through repeated action. You don't become courageous by thinking about courage. You become courageous by acting courageously. This insight underpins modern psychology. Behavioral conditioning, habit formation, skill acquisition, identity development. Aristotle argued that habits shape not just behavior, but who you become. Emotion and reason. Unlike Plato, Aristotle did not see emotion as something to be controlled by reason alone. He believed emotion has its own intelligence. The problem is not feeling anger, fear, or desire. The problem is feeling them at the wrong time, in the wrong way, or toward the wrong object. This is the beginning of emotional regulation, not emotional suppression. Modern psychology reflects this. Emotions are signals. Regulation matters more than elimination. Healthy emotion supports rational decision-making. The golden mean. Aristotle's concept of the golden mean is a psychological principle disguised as ethics. Virtue, he argued, lies between extremes. Courage lies between cowardice and recklessness. Confidence lies between arrogance and self-doubt. Restraint lies between repression and indulgence. Psychologically, this is balance. Mental health is not about eliminating emotion or desire. It's about calibration, purpose, and fulfillment. Aristotle believed every being has a telos, a purpose. For humans, that purpose is eudaimonia, often translated as happiness, but better understood as flourishing. Flourishing comes from living in accordance with reason, developing virtue, forming healthy relationships, contributing to society, realizing potential over time. This is not pleasure-based happiness. It is meaning-based well-being. Modern positive psychology echoes Aristotle almost directly. Aristotle's legacy. Aristotle influenced developmental psychology, behavioral science, learning theory, emotion research, virtue ethics, positive psychology. He transformed psychology from speculation into systematic inquiry. Without Aristotle, there is no scientific study of the mind. Final thought. Aristotle teaches us that the mind is not something we are born with fully formed. It is something we build, through experience, through habit, through balance, through purposeful action. Mental health is not a state, it's a practice. And psychology, at its core, is the study of how humans learn to live well. Thanks for watching Psychology of Humans.